Hey everyone, this is Pig for Life, and today I'm doing a video review for Toyworld's TW-01B Hegemon, which I guess the B stands for black, which is a little confusing, which caused a lot of confusion when this guy kind of went up for a pre-order. But this is the Toyworld's reissue, which is a slight recoloring for the comic colors. And we'll get into that in a second, but this still is very much a G1 Megatron. So as always, we're going to go ahead and start with packaging, and throughout this video I'm actually going to do a comparison as well with my original Toyworld Hegemon, so you'll get to see comparisons throughout. So looking at the packaging, the first thing you'll see is definitely different packaging than the original. It has this nice big image of a Megatron here, and the artwork is fantastic. It looks really good, really dynamic. It looks very much like Toyworld's take, although they do have the barrel kind of in the center as opposed to one side, which it usually is. In any case, it's a really nice packaging. It is a glossier take and slightly different look than their past versions of their boxes. So on the side we have the same picture of Hegemon. On the back we see both modes. We see the robot mode as well as the gun mode, the P-38 alt mode. On this side here we see that same image of him in bot mode. On top really just see the Toyworld logo, and on the bottom not much going on here as well. So that's the packaging. Well, I'll bring in the original Toyworld packaging so you can do kind of a comparison. So in terms of look, you can see that this one looks a lot nicer in terms of just finish, the artwork. This one looks pretty plain and actually looks kind of crappily designed, to be perfectly honest. It does give you a much bigger view of the character itself, but overall this packaging is much better. Again, this has a nice glossy finish. This is just kind of a traditional, almost semi-gloss. This one is more traditional cardboard, and this one has kind of a thinner cardboard, but feels a lot nicer. In terms of actual thickness, they're the same size. In terms of width, in terms of height, in actually all dimensions, and you can see here as well. All dimensions are, sorry, trying to get all this to fit in, it's pretty hard. It's basically all same dimensions for the box. The sides are obviously a bit different, as are the back images. And this is where you'll see, even though the packaging is the same size, the TW-01B comes with a lot less accessories. So in the original release you got the weapons, both the mace, energy mace, as well as this kind of sword, as well as the accessories, which were really used for gun mode. The silencer or suppressor, if you want to call it suppressor, and the I'm forgetting what they're called, the support arm piece. Some gun fanatic is probably gonna be like, it's this, and I totally forget what it's called. Anyway, going back around to this side, again, different sides here. But overall, the new box looks a lot nicer, and again, this artwork really does make it dynamic. If you have the TW-02B Orionville, I think this is what they're calling it, the black Orion, Toyworld Orion, they actually go face to face together, side to side, and you'll see them kind of facing off, which is pretty cool. I like how they tied that together. I do not have that black Orion. I actually just sold my original Orion as well. Anyway, so we'll go right into the unboxing. You just cut one of these slide tabs here and pull it open. Try and do this without mangling my box. And just pull it out like so. And we'll get this box out of the way. And setting this off to the side, you do get instructions as usual, as well as a bio card. The instructions are going to have that nice new image The instructions themselves, I believe, are exactly the same as the original, and honestly still kind of not clear, so hopefully my transformations will help you guys out a bit. As far as the bio cards are different as well. You see again the nice new image as opposed to nice new artwork as opposed to the actual figure shot on the original. It really depends on what you like, I suppose. Both high quality, both plastic. For the most part, the back is very similar, except this one shows the actual back of the robot mode, which when we take it out, you'll see that the proper transformation apparently has the trigger going up like this, but this guy's packaged with the trigger going horizontally, but we'll get into that. So that's it for the packaging for the most part. Again, we're going to go into what's included. This one only has the energy mace and the black head. So, sorry, it only has the energy mace here and the black colored comic head. So the helmet is black, and the light piping and eyes are yellow. So let's pull this out real quick. Man, he's really stuck in there this time. Sorry about that, guys. I know this is not the most fun part of any video reviews. Watching some guy struggle getting accessories out of the box. It's thrilling, I suppose. So there is Hegemon. Just looking down for some reason, but here we go. And let's zoom in a bit so you guys can get a better look at him. So again, here is the head and the mace, which it looks kind of stubby, but it's deceiving because you pull it out and you have the chain tied inside. Which, to be perfectly honest, I didn't even know you could even tab this in before on the original. So it's nice that it was packaged this way. It gave you a hint to that. So let's set these off to the side for now. And going into the robot review immediately, this is still, in my opinion, the best G1 representation of Megatron. That is not to say it is not without its faults. So let's go ahead and go zoom into the upper body and head sculpt. And you'll see a couple of issues I have with him immediately, and what a lot of people had issues with him with the first release. His head sculpt looks pretty good. I think it's pretty accurate representation of Megatron. A nice helmet. He has the nice red eyes. He does have light piping. So I think it looks very good from that standpoint. As far as the rest of the figure, it's pretty accurate. He has the cannon on his right arm as well as the barrel on the back side. As far as some of the colors, the gray is still pretty accurate. And this figure does have some differences in painting than the original. But zooming back in on the chest real quick, he still suffers from these swirls. And this was something I was really worried about. And you probably can't see it all that well on mine, just because of the lighting. But there are swirls all over this guy, all over the place. Oh, there you go. You can get a much better look at that one here. And then there's some here as well. When I get into the comparisons, you'll see that these are the same exact places. But let's go ahead and talk about him. Again, I really like the way he looks. I think he's still the best looking Megatron. He is far, far better than the Masterpiece MP5, which I have and I haven't done a review on because I really hate that figure. I don't even want to transform him, let alone try to do it on camera. Taking a look at the side, again you'll see his cannon. As I mentioned before, this is how it comes packaged, but based on previous pictures, that's supposed to be the correct transformation. And he has his little butt flaps here, which are kind of annoying. He has a bit of a backpack, and these hollow legs, which you see here. these spaces are for the leg feet to go in for transformation, and they're red, and I just never understood why it was red. They serve really no purpose in being red. And the front. It does take, Toyworld does take its own liberties on some of the transformation and overall look. Like the legs here, that's not really that accurate. It splits this way as opposed to the original G1 toy that's split sideways, as well as MP5 split lengthwise as opposed to down the middle. But I think they did a really good job still capturing this. So let's go ahead and bring his original version of this mold in. And for this review, it'll be pretty easy to tell which one's which, just because I have a Decepticon symbol on the original, and as well as the orange cap. So on the left side, TW-01B, and this is TW-01. So you can see some immediate differences in paint. Right here is probably one of the most striking differences. It has the silver on the front, which I actually kind of like, and it is a different color than the molded plastic. You can see that there's paint apps here, and this metallic red as opposed to the regular red that is on the inside of the arms here, as well as here. There's a lack of red on the abdomen on the B version. On the gun, you'll see there's gray here, as opposed to just still being that molded plastic. Coming around to the side, you're not going to see much difference here. On the back, you're not going to see much difference, except maybe you'll notice these hinges are a gray color as opposed to the same black. This side, again, you're not going to really see any difference. One thing I did point out is the fist. The original fist is black. This one is a dark gray, and again, a different color gray than the majority of the figure. Okay. So I think that's it for, one last thing, which you're not going to be able to see that easily, but there are screw covers here on the 4 areas on the original. So 1, 2, and then the mirror side on the side, mirror. So 1, 2, and then 3, 4. They do not have that on the B reissue or recoloring, and that's really disappointing. I don't know why they didn't do that. That has to only cost pennies, if anything, and it's really disappointing. But when you look at these up close, and again, just because of the lighting, you might not be able to see, the swirly plastic is apparent through both. They're both in the same exact places here, 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 and look almost identical. I wish they had repaired the mold or improved the injection on these guys. Again, probably hard to see. I'll try to angle it so you can see some of them, but it's in the same exact places everywhere. So they didn't make any improvements to the mold that I can see, which is really, really disappointing, because the gray swirly plastic is well known throughout toys, and we were hoping to get something a little bit cleaner, at least on the front here. And that's, I mean, I don't know. I thought that was pretty disappointing for them not to do that. One last thing, this is a darker black, and you're not going to be able to see it because it's very subtle. This has kind of more of a gunmetal, slightly a little bit of brown, you could say, in there. I mean, it's still very black. If you didn't have it compared to this one, you would still call it black. So that's it for robot mode comparison. Just to be complete, let's go through articulation. His head is on a hinge and side to side. It's not on a ball joint. Okay? On a swivel, I'm sorry. The arms, the shoulder articulation is kind of limited. Just, I mean, you can get it out of transformation and get some movement on this side. This side you don't really have movement because of the way it locks in like so. So you're limited there. You do get a decent range of motion in the sense you can go 360, but I don't like the fact that the shoulders don't come out at all. He has a bicep swivel, elbow joint, ratchet elbow joints. The fists are one molded piece and do have wrist articulation with wrist swivel. Empty hands here, hollow forearms here where the fists go in. So again, that's a disappointment. Adding a flap would have been nice if they had done that. As far as the other hand, the cannon is the only real difference here, and that can rotate 360 for transformation. He has on his upper body a little bit of swivel, I guess chest swivel, and again that's for transformation. It does help out though. He doesn't have waist articulation really. He has this weird right at the crotch articulations, and it's hindered mostly because of these butt flaps and their need to sit into this recessed area. But you can always take that off if you'd like. They're on ball joints, so you can take them off if you want and get some more, or you can move them to the side. Some people keep these on the side for some reason. I don't know why you would want to, but you can, and then you can get more rotation on the crotchal area. That's right, I said crotchal. Ratcheted joints both ways for the legs. Nice tight ratchets. Thigh swivel. And so as far as range of motion, he does get 90 degrees out here, 90 degrees out here. He is a little bit hindered with some clearance. So you can't get everywhere in the range of motion, but pretty good. His knees can fold at 90 degrees, almost exactly. Actually, it is exactly. And then his feet are on a ball joint, which gives him good ankle. He does have some toe articulation just like so, which really is just for transformation. He has a decent heel. Let me scoot down. He has a decent heel, so he does hold poses pretty well. Let's see, did I miss any other pieces of articulation? I may have, but I mean, for the most part, I think you get the picture. His arms do come out on the side here a bit, even though his shoulders don't, but he gets a little bit of motion here. You have to do that arm flap that goes up. So that's kind of the compromise they made without being able to actually move his shoulder pieces, which is fine. I think he is pretty dynamic in his posability. He can get a wide stance pretty easily. He can get forward and back. You do run into, again, problems with the hip flaps, but overall, I think it's a really good representation. As far as size comparisons, I think the only other figure I have, and again, those of you who've been watching my videos, I'm kind of in the middle of a move over the next couple months. Here he is with Mania King, Unique Toys Mania King, and he is a bit taller than Mania King overall, which is one of my complaints about Mania King. But Toyworld has weird kind of scale issues even within their own figures, so I can't really knock Unique Toys for that. Alright, so then let's go ahead and get him into alt mode, and I'm going to try not to mess any of this up, but we'll see. So the first thing I do is always put his fist in, and then you can collapse his arms straight in. They're just friction. Oh, that happens a lot. And that's just on like a little post, so you can get that back in really easily. I feel like this is not focusing particularly well today, my camera. Maybe it's just the lighting. Next up, we're going to go actually to the bottom. I'm going to flip his toe inwards, like so. And then these are going to just rotate back on this ball joint and go into that hollow part. It doesn't tab in or anything, but it sits in really securely. The instructions now say to peg it together, like you rotate at the knee and peg it upwards, peg it together and push it inwards to collapse the legs. I think it's easier to collapse them separately and then peg it together. but you can try it out, whatever your preference is on that. Okay. All right. Let's get his arms up. Oh, how did they do this? I forget. Oh, so that's right. So you unpeg this post out of this arm here, so this hole, and then you rotate. You can rotate this basically all the way. So you rotate both. You rotate the post all the way back so it seats into the arm, and then you rotate that all the way forward. So you can see it completing part of the barrel already. From here, you can also rotate the arm all the way up and pull this down. And then you can get these flaps on the side. So on this side, what you do is pull it out and then you rotate this little hip piece. Sorry about the lighting, guys. I don't know what it is with this figure. Maybe because it's all black or something's with my camera today. But you rotate this all the way around, and then it's on a ball joint, like I said earlier. You unfold this out, unfold this down, and there's sections here that go in over these tabs. And this goes around back, and that kind of finishes the handle. Same thing on the other side. Go ahead and pull this out on the ball joint. You don't have to rotate this one. So this one you flip up and out and just make sure you straighten it. And then this will go all the way back around. And again, there's sections here with tabs that fit into the red tabs here. And then you fold these over along the back. These are a little fiddly. I mean, they're not terrible, given that what you need to do to get a robot looking like a gun in some way, shape, or form, a handgun. Oh, well, I'm just gonna leave that off for now. So you can actually unpeg the upper body. It's on that arm. I'm trying to figure out why. Did I not collapse it enough? Oh, that's right. I'm having a hard time. Oh, I didn't collapse all the way, so collapse. Make sure you collapse the legs all the way. And that will make it a lot easier to have everything in place. So that took, like I said, I knew I was going to run into some problems with this figure, but there is a tab here on this one that goes into a slot here. And mine's pretty tight, so just be careful with that. Finally, that is finally done. Alright, now it gets kind of confusing. So let's go ahead and open up the head. Flip that in, close it up. That's the easy part. Where it starts getting kind of confusing is, let's see. You basically start flipping around the upper body a bunch of different times to get things kind of working. So, if I remember correctly, and I may not, what you'll do is rotate this gun barrel, this gun trigger down like so, and then you'll rotate this around completely. And that, and you'll see that the right arm with the gun is on a weird hinge here. And so what the instructions tell you to do is to pull this down, but you'll see that there's some clearance issues. So you can actually rotate the upper body a little bit more than where it's parallel to get this to come around a bit, but it's a little scary. So what I do is pull the arm around like this first, but that makes it a little bit easier. But still, it's kind of a scary clearance issue. So you kind of like jiggle it through while simultaneously. Trying to get this. Sorry. There we go. So I jiggled that through. So this arm comes all the way around, comes up, and that will now allow you to bring both arms together to form, and peg together to form the back of the barrel, or the slide. I believe is what it's called. Again, I'm not really into guns, so if I'm naming these incorrectly, I apologize. Alright, now what's next? So then you can rotate this part forward. Let's be straight. And then here you rotate this straight. Of course, all this is coming unpegged, which is annoying. Alright, the next thing you'll do is rotate this back around, and then push this whole slide forward, or you can push this part back, however you want to think about it. Just keep pushing back until it's pegged in, and then you can actually fold this all the way through, and there's several pegs here. There's like 10 pegs. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pegs that fit into both slots here as well as slots in those hip cover pieces. My two arms don't peg together particularly well. I might have to find out which peg is the offending one, but go ahead and try to get this all pegged in. And that's one of the things I haven't liked about my Toyworld figures, like that I've had in the past, like Orion and Hegemon, is that there are a lot of pegs, which is good for security, but a lot of them here are really scary. So there we go. Oh, I'm sorry. So let's put this back on, and I didn't skip anything really with that. It just kind of gets in the way sometimes. So now that we're almost done, we can pull this barrel back, and then you'll see that there's 2 tabs that tab in there. Okay. And then this scope will come around, come up, and there's a peg here that pegs into these 2 pegs. A slot that goes into those 2 pegs. Almost done. Lastly, this trigger is on a post that is articulated, so you want to bring that all the way down, bring this straight, and then you're going to flip that down one more time to get that all the way around. And when you're doing that, there's 2 pegs here that go into slots, and there's also a peg here that goes into this slot, but you'll do that last. So go ahead and rotate around, get those pegs in there into the abdomen area. And again, mine are really tight. And then peg this in last. And if you did everything correctly and these tabs don't keep coming out, you'll have a completed Hegemon in alt mode. And it's a Walther P38, I believe. So it's a nice looking handgun. It's pretty accurate, I would say. I think the scope is supposed to be a little bit more forward in the real handgun. The trigger is on the spring. No clicking or anything like that, but that's pretty cool. Looking at this now, I don't know why they went with a gray here instead of the black on the original, which we'll do comparisons with after a cut. But here you can see these missing screw covers much more apparently here. I don't know why they didn't do that. That really upsets me that they didn't do that. I know they were trying to keep down the cost and got rid of some accessories, but I don't know why they would get rid of that. But overall, I think the gun mode is really good. It looks very much like a P38. It's a little big, I think, but even in my kind of small hands or medium-sized hands, it feels a little big. But again, I think with any G1 Megatron that transforms into a gun, you're gonna have to make some compromises. Okay, everyone, coming back from that cut, I'm doing a comparison now with the original, and again, As before, the one with the Decepticon symbol as well as the orange barrel cover is the original, and this is removable. I'm just doing that just to make it easy for you guys to see the difference. So looking at these two in gun mode, alt mode, you can see again the difference here in the color, some of the paint apps differences. Again, neither of them have all of the paint apps. I mean, the red up here is missing from the red on the right, the missing red down here as opposed to the existing red on the right. Again, you can see the gray up here, which is, I think, more of a design choice. I'm not really sure if that's accurate to the original gun or not. This side, again, the screw covers, which have me upset a bit. But otherwise, they're pretty identical in alt mode. Same swirly plastic. Again, if you guys could see how similar the swirls are in every single place, like it looks almost identical, like a twin of a twin version of these guns, swirly plastic and all. On the back, you do see a little bit of this, and then you see the gray here on the front because of the legs. I kind of like it, and in most views, you're not going to really see much of a difference. So you're not, again, since it's the same mold, no really shocking surprises that they're very similar with the exception of some of those minor apps. A couple of things I will bring in are the accessories for the original gun, the suppressor, and the stock. I remember the name of it, the stock. Do work on this. So you just have these pegs that go into the foot. There we go. And the suppressor splits down the middle as opposed to sliding on. Oh, I'm gonna take this off first. And there is a top part that has the slot in it. Oh, is it this one? Oh yeah, sorry, that side. This one has a slot in it. These two come together and the barrel slides on the front. So you still are able to use the previous accessories. It doesn't stand up, it's a little front heavy here, but you can see it still looks great. I love it in this mode. All my Megatrons are actually right now displayed in alt mode just because I like the look of the gun overall. And also none of the Megatrons I have really scale in the Masterpiece line, which is my display main display area. And I hadn't noticed it before, but I talked about the black being a little bit darker on 10B than the original, and I thought it was just with the barrel of this, with the scope, but it's actually all of the black. It's a little bit darker, so you probably can't see it here, but when you have them next to each other, this black is a little bit more dark gray, kind of a hint of brown, so it is slightly different. So you will notice it a bit if you use the old accessories with the new reissue. Okay. Let's split these guys up again. So they did not include these accessories, the suppressor and the stock. But if you have it and you have the original version, or you're able to pick this up, these accessories on eBay or something like that, you can definitely reuse them. Alright, let's go right back into transformation, because all my comparison videos end up being even longer than my already long reviews. So to get back started back into robot mode, turn the barrel as such, rotate it down. This gun barrel, you want to pull it almost straight out, come around, rotate it up, rotate it as far back as possible without pulling it off the joint with the post. So here, remember there's a post in here, so don't just try to push it back. You have to pull it out first from that slot and then rotate this back around. Again, rotate this way. I find that easier when you rotate it back up like so. Alright, from here you want to, well, if it hasn't already come unpeg the slide from the handle and rotate it up. And then you can rotate. Sorry about that. Again, it comes out really easily. But it's better than it breaking, I suppose. So you want to pull that all the way forward. So what I did again was, I believe this is what I'm supposed to do. You want to pull this whole slide up. And you can rotate both these pieces. Alright, so you're going to rotate the gun top part, split the slide down the middle. You're going to untap it up here. Okay, and again, this is where the kind of weird jiggling, it's hard to show on video, but getting that arm to kind of get through here. I'm going to rotate the chest a little bit so you can get that clearance going. Okay, so now I cleared most of it. Now I can straighten it out so that it's sitting parallel. Moving that up brings that around. You're gonna want to put this peg, this weird peg, into that slot. Oh, sorry, you have to rotate the arm first. There we go. You have to rotate it forward first. I'm just gonna leave this off for now. I think you guys get the picture. It just gets in the way all the time. With this arm, you want to rotate it all the way back, and then rotate just the arm part, not this inside gray part, forward, and then you can put that peg into a small slot, a peg hole over there. Just rotate that up to get it out of the way. Alright, you're going to want to rotate the entire top again. And now everything's facing the correct way. At this point you can get these flaps, fold this up, fold this in on this side. Again, my peg is a little tight there, so fold this up, fold this back, and fold this one in. Fold it down on the ball joint so it sits flat like that. On this one, you're going to rotate it up and rotate it all the way back. And now rotate on this hinge, go all the way down. There's two pegs that go into corresponding slots in the hips. If you did that all right, that should all align perfectly. Now coming to the legs, separate them and then extend them. Just giving them a tug. You should hear them snap. My left one doesn't click into place, but my right one usually does. There we go. And rotate them forward. With the feet at the back, bring out the toes. And then rotate the feet outward on that ball jointed hinge, revealing the hollow legs, back of the legs. Okay, rotating the arms downward, rotating the arms downward, pull the arms down. On mine there's no noticeable click, and my left one slides freely. I thought, my old one I believe there's a little bit of a click. And then reveal the hands. Almost done. You can put this trigger up. And at this point, I'll go ahead and put this back on this post. And then reveal the head. So open up this area here, flip the head out, and we're back in robot mode. I didn't show it earlier, and I apologize for that. The mace just has a peg that goes into his hand. Just slides right on. I mean, I don't know why they always give him this mace. I mean, just because I guess he needs accessories, but I think he only uses it in like the very first episode, first season, like once, maybe even the first episode once. As far as the head goes, the installation is pretty easy. I'll go ahead, you know what, I'll go ahead and do that for you guys. I wasn't going to just because it's so simple, but since that it is a key part of this figure, I'll go ahead and show it quote-unquote installation. So just go to the back of the head. Here, I'll just rotate it forward like so. And there's a small Phillips head screw. Just go ahead and pull that out. Separate them. And you can see there's that swivel. Alright, whatever, put that off to the side. You do get another screw in the alternate head, so you don't have to reuse the same one. But you can, doesn't really matter. Go ahead and open that up. So you're going to want to put the front of the head in first. And then slide on the light piping. Both halves fit together. Replace the screw. Rotate it around. So since I have the original head, oh, I would have to transform him. Well, what I'll show you guys, since I have that available as well, if I can find them, are the Firefare 02 kit, which I previously did a review on. As I said, all the accessories should work together. You can see the other heads as well. So these are the alternate heads from Firefare. This is the original head. They all work. They're all interchangeable. So if you have that kit, again, you can reuse that here. Slide this on. Give him a little bit of extra height. And again, even though he doesn't have this accessory, this stock does sort of store the mace here. And the original giant sword. And again, these accessories, these two and the suppressor pieces are not included. I keep reiterating that, but I just want to make sure I'm not confusing anyone. So as far as the comic book head, I guess, the black head goes, trying to zoom in. The expression is different. It's more of a scowl than kind of the straight face that we have with the original head. Looks a little bit meaner. And again, the main difference is the black helmet and the yellow eyes as opposed to the red. Alright. And I think that's it, guys. I'm going to go ahead and give my final thoughts. So this guy retails for, I believe, about $100, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less, depending on where you go. I got this set from my good buddy Eddie at Toy Dojo, toydojo.com. Visit them. I bought that from them. This is not a sponsored review, but I love to give credit where credit's due. So he did a great job. Eddie did a great job sending him over immediately once he got him in. Came in a couple of days, really nicely bubble wrapped and with a lot of peanut packaging as well. I appreciate that. So final thoughts on this guy. For $100 or so, I think he's worth picking up for sure. And it does help those that missed Hegemon the first time around and were paying outrageous prices for him on the secondary market for like over $200, sometimes I think $300 for the original Hegemon with all the accessories. This at $100 I think is a pretty good figure overall. I hate that they skimped on the screw covers and the accessories, because I think his alt mode is one of the better alt modes for a G1 Megatron, and so not having all the accessories is kind of disappointing. I don't know if they plan to sell the accessories separately or not, but again, I wish they had included that with this set. But overall, I think he's worth a buy, especially if you're kind of a classics collector. I think he'll fit in really well with that display. A lot of people always ask if he will scale with Masterpiece, and the answer is absolutely not. He's way too small. Even with these boots, he's way too small. It'd be great if they did a Masterpiece scale version of this guy, but then the gun and alt mode, which I already showed you, was already pretty big, is going to be even more big and look kind of out of place. But still, I would love for them to do that. I'd definitely pick it up because, again, I hate MP5 Megatron, Masterpiece Megatron, so having an alternative to him would be a welcome change. That said, if it still has swirly plastic like this in the Masterpiece Scale 1, if they ever do it, I'm going to be furious, because that's just going to be unacceptable for a third time around. So overall, guys, the recommended is a buy. Go ahead and either click on the link for Toy Dojo or find them at your favorite retailer and get them soon, so that you don't have to pay outrageous prices for him again in a year or two's time and pay like $200. If you guys have any questions about some of the comparisons, let me know in the comments. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I did launch Paik for Life. The Paik, that's P-A-I-K, the number 4, L-I-F-E, reviews.com, which is my new kind of blog website. Also, Paik for Life Reviews on Facebook is a new page that I created. Those links will be in the description. If you like the video, please give it a thumbs up, share it, and subscribe. I'd love to have more subscribers. It just shows that what I'm doing is actually worthwhile and you guys are liking it. I'll respond to as many comments as I can. Next up, actually, will be a review for a couple of the KFC MP10 replacement hands, or MP10B, or Year of the Horse. It's KP06 series of articulated hands for Masterpiece Optimus Prime. So that's going to be next on the review deck. Alright, guys. Well, that's all for today. Have a good one.